Hello, my name is Jennifer Moss of WGVU. On behalf of Groundswell, I'm here today to talk about how you can help protect our water. We are exploring the lower Grand River watershed. Today we will learn more about specific pollutants that impact the health of our watershed and what you can do to help. Today you'll hear from local community experts about non-point source pollution. This is pollution picked up by rain and snowmelt as it flows over the ground. Non-point source pollution comes from all areas of the watershed because it happens whenever rain falls. In our watershed, nutrients are one of the main types of non-point source pollution. Local students and community experts are here to help us understand what nutrients are, where they come from, when they are a problem, and what you can do to help address the problem.
Nutrients are the elements and chemicals necessary to sustain life. That would include things like carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, and oxygen. They allow people, plants, and all organisms to grow and thrive. These chemicals occur naturally in the environment. They are necessary to sustain life and healthy ecosystems, but they can cause harm when excess nutrients are added to our water. As an example, maybe you take a vitamin every day. You take only one because that's all you need. If you took more than you needed, you might get sick. Too much of a good thing can be harmful.
Like you and your vitamins, plants love nitrogen and phosphorus. In the environment, too much of these nutrients can disrupt natural ecosystem processes and damage water quality. There are three main sources of excess nutrients in the lower Grand River watershed. 1, farm animals. 2, septic systems. 3, fertilizer runoff from farms and urban areas. Sources you might see in your neighborhood are fertilizer runoff from lawns and pet waste.
Manure from farm animals can add excess nitrogen and phosphorus to our water if the manure is not managed properly. Manure contains a lot of these chemicals. That is why farmers like to use it to fertilize their fields. But the nutrients that allow crops to grow can cause problems if they are washed off fields by rain into lakes and streams. Farm animals also like to wade in creeks. The water is cool for bathing and drinking. Since they're not potty trained, animal waste such as urine and feces will add nutrients to the water.
Septic systems are the second main source of nitrogen and phosphorus in our watershed. In the city, a treatment plant processes and cleans human waste. If you don't live in the city, you probably have a septic system. Septic systems store human waste in an underground tank. The solid material settles to the bottom where it can break down. The liquid slowly trickles into the soil where natural processes filter out pollutants. Septics are effective and safe when built and maintained properly. But old or damaged systems can fail and leak human waste into our water. Just like with animal waste, human waste adds nitrogen and phosphorus that can damage water quality.
Runoff from farms and urban areas is the third largest source of nitrogen and phosphorus in our watershed. These nutrients come in the form of fertilizers. Farmers apply fertilizer to help crops grow. That's a good thing. Nutrients are a necessary part of food production. They're the plant's vitamins. However, problems can occur when it rains. Rain can carry the fertilizer off the farm field or lawn and into rivers and lakes.
People also use fertilizers to keep their lawns green and vibrant, but many people apply more fertilizer than they need. When it rains, the fertilizer can be carried off the lawn, down storm drains, and into rivers, lakes, and streams.
Now you know where nitrogen and phosphorus come from, fertilizers and waste. But why are they a problem? Remember, nutrients are a natural, necessary part of our environment. Plants require them to grow, but our natural systems can be disrupted when too much nitrogen and phosphorus are added to our water.
There are many sources of excess nitrogen and phosphorus, which cause many problems. A major problem is extreme plant growth. This includes large algae blooms. Algae are very small aquatic plants that live in lakes, rivers, and streams. Many of them are single-celled and can only be seen under a microscope. They occur naturally and are an important source of food and water ecosystems. Like all plants, algae rely on nutrients to grow. Their growth is limited by the amount of nutrients present in the water. When there is an excess of nutrients, the algae are able to reproduce in large quantities, forming large algae blooms. Some types of algae will grow more than others, altering the balance of the food supply and the species diversity in the ecosystem. Large algae blooms also can reduce the amount of sunlight passing through the water. This can impact other aquatic plants needing light to grow. Less light also can make it difficult for fish and other organisms to find their food. There also is a major impact on lake ecosystems when the algae die. The bacteria decomposing the dead algae use oxygen in the water. This is one of the ways too much algae reduces the amount of oxygen to fish and other organisms. If the amount of oxygen drops too low, many fish and other organisms will die. Only organisms that can tolerate low levels of oxygen will remain. This reduces the overall diversity of the ecosystem. When certain species of algae die, they could release toxins into the water. These toxins are harmful to humans and animals. Drinking the water could make you sick or even cause death. This recently happened in Toledo, Ohio. The city couldn't use its drinking water because of toxic algae in Lake Erie.
So what can you do to prevent excess nitrogen and phosphorus from entering our water?
If you live on a farm, keep farm animals out of creeks by installing a fence along the bank. Make sure manure and fertilizer are properly managed. This means testing the soil to figure out the right amount to add. Blend the manure or fertilizer into the soil instead of just placing it on the surface. Grow grasses, shrubs, and other vegetation along creeks to filter out nutrients before they reach the water.
If you live in a community with septic systems, you can educate your neighbors about the need for proper maintenance. This includes regular inspections and pumping every 2 to 5 years. You can even encourage your community to adopt an ordinance or other formal policy regulating septic systems.
If you live in the city, don't use too much fertilizer on your lawn. Follow recommended guidelines for the amount and type of fertilizer to use. Even better, encourage your family to replace parts of the lawn with native plants. These plants help rainwater soak into the ground and remove pollution. They also provide habitat for butterflies, birds, and other species. And always remember to clean up after your pet.
One of the best things you can do is help educate people about nitrogen and phosphorus pollution. Explain why non-point source pollution is one of the biggest threats to healthy rivers and lakes in our watershed. Remind people their actions will have an impact even if they live far from a lake or river. Non-point source pollution is a tough problem to solve because it's happening everywhere, and people don't know that they're contributing to the problem. That's why we need to come together. We need a groundswell of knowledge and action to improve and protect our watershed. Together, with your help, we can keep our water clean. This video was made possible through support from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, Grand Valley State University College of Education, and WGVU Public Media.